What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, we have some very interesting news. Shouts out to my brother, Showbiz the Adult. Showbiz the Adult. Shouts out to the brother, Showbiz the Adult, man. Go subscribe to Showbiz the Adult if you haven't already subscribed to him. Showbiz the Adult revealed something that his community revealed to him, and my community then revealed to me, right? Which is Hall of Fame referee that had a terrible stain on his record yesterday, and that's Tony Weeks. During this lightweight vacant WBA title showdown that included, lightweight, junior welterweight, that included Ishmael Barroso, and it included Rolando Rolly Romero, who was making his debut at 140, coming off of a loss, knockout 6-round loss to Gervonta Tank Davis. Rolando Rolly Romero went into this fight. The title was vacated. He was actually supposed to fight the champion, but the champion had to vacate the belt because he tested positive for a banned substance. So he wasn't available, to say the least. With that said, okay, Rolly Romero came into this fight 14 wins, 1 loss, no draw. 12 wins by way of knockout, 27 years of age, 5'8" with a 68-inch arm reach. Ishmael Barroso came into this fight 24 wins, 3 losses, 2 draws, 22 wins by way of knockout. At 40 years of age, Ishmael Barroso, 40 years of age, late replacement, but he's a southpaw. He has power. 22 of his 24 wins came by knockout. He was on a 4-fight winning streak. He's 5'9" with a 69-inch arm reach, and he's a southpaw. Rolly Romero just got knocked out. Now, obviously, Ishmael Barroso is nowhere near on the level of Gervonta Tank Davis, but it showed that he has issues with southpaws. So, my community sent this to me from Showbiz the Adult. Tony Weeks stopped the fight in the 9th round, right? Terrible stoppage by Tony Weeks. Terrible stoppage by Tony Weeks, right? He stopped the fight in the 9th round. Rolly got dropped in the 3rd round, right? And he dropped Ishmael Barroso in the 8th round, and then in the 9th round, first punch he landed that buzzed Ishmael, Tony Weeks decided to step in and wave it off. Whole boxing community in an uproar because that was a terrible stoppage by Tony Weeks. Only to come to find out, just yesterday, just hours before the fight, Tony Weeks puts up a post on his Instagram that says, essentially, everybody should be forgiven for the mistakes they made. Mistakes is not the end all be all. And he uses Bruce Lee. You know, it's a saying by Bruce Lee, right? And he puts this post up just hours before the fight. It's not a mistake, Tony Weeks. Okay? Like world champion, former world champion, Paulie Malignaggi, the Magic Man Malignaggi, said on his show, with Paulie TV. Paulie Malignaggi said, now, some things Paulie say I agree with, some things I don't agree with. But Paulie said, it's only a mistake if the B side is on the receiving side. So if the B side is receiving the bad decision in favor of the B side, then it can be a mistake. But these mistakes only happen when it's favoring the A side. Why? Because it's not a mistake. It's not a mistake. It's an action to protect the A side and the money, the bag. That's what it is. It's not a mistake at all. And so, like Paulie said, it would be a mistake if it favors the B side at times. But this never goes in the favor of the B side. It's always in favor of the A side. So it's not a mistake, right? And it's ironic that Tony Weeks would say, right, would put this post up, right? And this is what the post says. Quote, mistakes are always forgivable if one has the courage to admit them, right? So this is what he stated. Mistakes are always forgivable if one has courage to admit the mistakes. That's what Tony Weeks stated. So if you have the courage to admit that you made a mistake, it's forgivable. That's what he put right there. Bruce Lee post. You see it right there. Tony Weeks. Right? You see the post right there. That's Tony Weeks to put this post up. And then he says, we all make mistakes. Praying hand, as you can see. Right there. We all make mistakes with the praying hand. This is just hours before the Rolly fight. This is premeditated. Tony Weeks knew, allegedly, it's premeditated. All an alleged. Tony Weeks knew that there was a strong possibility this was going to happen. If Rolly was down on the cards. This is just to let us know. And then this is the kicker. He says, mistakes are always forgivable if one has the courage to admit them. After he clearly made a mistake, and the boxing world is in a complete uproar because that was a terrible stoppage, what's the first thing Tony Weeks does? When asked to interview to explain and give details to why you stopped the fight, the first thing he does is say, no comment. I'm not going to do no interviews, and walks off. I thought all mistakes are forgivable if one has the courage to admit them. And then he says we all make mistakes. If that is the case, Tony Weeks, then why didn't you come on camera and say, listen, all you had to do was explain to the boxing world why you made that decision, when the entire boxing world thought it was a terrible decision, including Rolly and his trainer and his team that said they shouldn't have stopped the fight. The very first punch that landed in the 9th round that favored Rolly Romero, Tony Weeks waved off the fight. And ironically, right before the fight, Tony Weeks puts up this post saying, mistakes are always forgivable if one has the courage to admit them. And he puts Bruce Lee. Then he says we all make mistakes. Tony Weeks knew that he got that memo before the fight. If Rolly is losing this fight, the first sign of trouble and adversity that Ishmael Barroso is facing, wave it off. Rolly was down on all 3 judges' scorecards. The closest he was 2 rounds down. He was down big on all 3 judges' scorecards. Big. Which means, and it was in the 9th round, which means it was a strong chance that it was going to get to the 12th round. And if it got to the 12th round, he was going to lose. Even his knockdown was questionable because he knocked down Ishmael, right, with the punch. But then, well, he caught him with a big left hook. But then the right hooked the back of his head and he just threw him to the canvas. And it was considered a knockdown. I watched the fight not too long ago, week before last. And they went to the judges' score, the Canelo Alvarez fight. Matter of fact. The Canelo Alvarez fight. Right? There was a fight on the undercard that there was a knockdown in. And they went to the replay, instant replay, and they ruled it a knockdown. It was not ruled a knockdown. Then they reversed it and ruled it a knockdown. 10-8 round. Why couldn't they go to replay in this fight and say, that was a push behind the head. You hooked him and you threw him to the canvas. Not to take anything away from Rolly because he's not in charge of this. It's not in his control. All he could do is fight. All of this other stuff is the politics, the politics in the sport of boxing. And it's terrible. So Tony Weeks, just hours before the fight, says all mistakes are forgivable if one has the courage to admit that they made a mistake. Then he says we all make mistakes. But he didn't admit that he made a mistake. He immediately walked off and we heard nothing from him. Tony Weeks, you gotta practice what you preach, period. And that's all I got for y'all, man. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shouts out to the entire LDBC. Shouts out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.